Now that we know that the iPhone 7 is a bigger leap than we had last time, we are going to see if it was the biggest upgrade in the history of iPhone by comparing it against the iPhone 4. So the iPhone 4 got a complete redesign. It is now much thinner, 9.3 millimeters compared to 12.3 millimeters. It is narrower, going down from 72.1 millimeters to 58.6 millimeters. Actually slightly shorter, going down from 115.5 millimeters to 115.2 millimeters. So on the iPhone 3GS, you have stainless steel bezels. On the iPhone 4, you don't. The iPhone 4 has a change in the back material. On the iPhone 3GS, it was plastic, but on the iPhone 4, it was glass. The iPhone 3GS has a curved design, while the iPhone 4S is a more blocky design. The iPhone 4 is a more blocky design. It makes it's easier to hold it, but this plastic makes the iPhone 3GS even easier to hold. The volume buttons on the iPhone 4 have been redesigned from this to this. The antenna now wraps around the side, as you can see. This is the antenna. There were originally 3 lines on the iPhone 4. The iPhone 7 keeps the same design as predecessor, just moving these top and bottom antenna lines and removing the S here, to introducing a black and jet black color, replacing the space gray, which is what we have here, removing the headphone jack and putting another, and making this side look similar to that side. 163 pixels per inch to 326 pixels per inch, and it also has a higher contrast ratio, 800 to 1, 200 to 1 to 800 to 1, and it is better for wide-angle viewing. It no longer turns bluish when you look at it from an angle. The iPhone 7, on the other hand, it has a new P3 color gamut, and it is 25% brighter. But these aren't nearly as many changes as are on the iPhone 4, so the iPhone 4 once again wins. The iPhone 4 was also a huge camera upgrade. It was actually the first iPhone to have an LED flash. It also rose the resolution from 3 megapixels to 5 megapixels and video from 480p to 720p. And it has a new camera technology, a back illuminated sensor. So the iPhone 7 introduced optical image stabilization, 3 times longer exposure. It had a larger f1.8 aperture, which allowed in 50% more light. It had a 6-element lens and a new high-speed sensor, 60% faster and 30% more efficient. The new flash is quad LED True Tone flash, which emits 50% more light and has a flicker sensor, which will sense the flickering of artificial light and compensate for that in your pictures and videos. The iPhone 7 has a bigger camera, which has 1.4 micron pixels. iPhone 4 obviously also had a bigger camera, but they didn't really talk about sensor sizes back then. 1/3 inches up to 1/2.6 inches, 1.2 micron pixels up to 1.4 micron pixels, and it has wide color capture and face and body detection. So the iPhone 4 is actually one of the largest camera upgrades in the history of iPhone, and it is about tied with the iPhone 7. So in terms of the front-facing camera, it wasn't even on the iPhone 3G, introduced in the iPhone 4, so it couldn't have been updated when the iPhone 4 was introduced, and we'll put that in a different category. The iPhone 7 had an improved front-facing camera, 1080p video instead of 720p, 7 megapixels instead of 5 megapixels, and now had wide color capture and face and body detection. The processor in the iPhone 3G was 600 megahertz compared to 800 megahertz in the iPhone 4. It also went up from 256 megabytes of RAM to 512 megabytes of RAM. This all played into the 31% speed increase on the iPhone 4. However, that could have been much bigger if it didn't have the Retina display. The iPhone 7 has a speed increase of 40% and a graphics increase of 50%. It has a 2.23 gigahertz processor, and it now has quad core, but only 2 of these can be used at once. 2 are high power cores and 2 are low power cores for things like checking your email so you're not using as much battery. Here we have the battery life of the 3GS to the 4, 6S to the 7, and 6S Plus to 7 Plus. So the battery decreased on the 7 and 7 Plus actually, and this is probably because they provided the wireless audio and wireless video numbers instead of the audio and video numbers. The video stayed the same on the 4, probably because of the Retina display, but it went up in the 7 and the 7 Plus. 3D talk time went up in the 4, stayed the same on the 7, went down in the 7 Plus. 3D browsing went up in the 4, went up in the 7, went up in the 7 Plus. Wi-Fi browsing went up on all of them, and standby stayed the same on all of them. The iPhone 4 adds 5.76 megabit per second HSUPA, meaning that it is now pentaband instead of quadband. The iPhone 7, on the other hand, increases the speed by 50% from 300 to 450 megabits per second, and adds some new bands, so it is a bigger change. The iPhone 4 was the first iPhone to have FaceTime, dual mic noise suppression, and a 3-axis gyroscope. The iPhone 7 introduced a completely virtual home button, so it no longer clicks. Dual speakers, one here and one in the earpiece. The earpiece is now a loudspeaker too. It outputs 2 times the volume of the iPhone 6S, and it has an IP67 waterproof rating, but has been tested to beat phones with an IP68 rating. The iPhone 7 may not have come with a full redesign or a big change to the display, but have major changes to everything else. Is actually the biggest change in the history of iPhone.